Lagos State government has said it is working to introduce monthly and quarterly rent payment options as part of efforts to reduce the financial pressure on residents, especially low-income earners. The State Commissioner for Housing, Moruf Akinderu Fatia, disclosed this on Tuesday during the 2025 ministerial press briefing to mark Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's second year in office. Akinderu Fatia said the planned policy is a continuation of the state's drive to make housing more accessible and affordable. He records the government's earlier rent-to-own scheme, which allows beneficiaries to make a 5% initial payment and spreads the balance over 10 years. He added that the government is currently consulting with landlords, developers, and other stakeholders to resolve potential challenges related to enforcement and payment systems before rolling out the initiative. Okay, I want to start with you, Comrade Onem, on those thoughts of the Lagos State government introducing monthly rent payments. Which one do you stand for, the yearly or the monthly rent payment?
Well, thank you once again. I think the one that we've been doing here is a yearly payment. Though some landlord are actually asking for monthly payment, but that is not common here, you know, in River State. What we are doing here is a yearly payment, and to some, I believe that is comfortable for them, why some is not comfortable for them.
Because of the accumulation
yes.
of the amount.
But mine, as a person, I think that yearly payment should be okay, because once you paid for a year, you know that your mind is settled, right?
Okay.
Even if you don't have anything within that period, you can be, you know, saving for another year. It will give you more time. But the angle that I want to actually go is the aspect of the increments, right?
Okay.
You know, before now, in Port Harcourt, self-contained, like where I stayed, was 75,000, 80,000. But as I speak with you today, it has skyrocketed to 250. In fact, some of the self-contained is 300K, 400K, you know. So if the government can regulate the way and manner in which landlord increase their rent, I think it will be okay. But as saying that landlord should be compelled to receive a monthly payment, or tenant should be compelled to pay to make a monthly payment as per their rent, that is another thing. But to me, I believe that that aspect is not suitable. I'm speaking based on my instinct and opinion over this issue.
Okay.
Right? But their area of concentration should be on how to regulate the way and manner landlord increase their rent, because you can attest to the fact that Nigerians today are suffering. We are suffering. Everybody, including me, I am suffering. I wouldn't pretend.
Okay.
I'm suffering because one, before now, a bag of cement was how much? A bag of cement was 1,500. It increased to 2,000. Then from 2,000, 3,000, from 3,000 to 5,000, from 5,000 to 8,000, from 8,000 to 10,000. In fact, there was a time that a bag of cement was sold at 13 to 15,000 in some areas, in some states. So I know if a man struggled to build his house by spending that kind of money, he will want to, right? Most especially now that the price of building material has skyrocketed. He will want to put in everything there in order for him to get back his money. So the government, we should look at a way of bringing down the cost of building materials, right? They should ensure that the price of things in this country are being regulated, so that at least those who are facing, financial challenges and some other things, because I must tell you the truth, there is a high level of unemployment rate. There is no job. If you want to go into business, provision store, in one area you see like 20 provision store, because people think that the only way they can get something is through those going into those those things. So who will now buy from who? So if there are other things, if there are jobs like before, when our fathers then, chief can attest to that fact when they will speak, when our father then graduate from school, you see companies, agencies, government coming to look for them.
Even when you're in school.
Even when you're in school. Yeah. So long as you are good. You understand? But today it's not like that. And on a yearly basis, people are graduating from school. No job. So how do we cope? How will someone who has nothing doing go and rent an apartment, maybe self-contained, or even a single room? It's difficult now. So the Lagos State government should not talk about regulating they should also discuss with the president. Nigeria are facing a lot of challenges.
All right. People
are going through agony. There is hardship in the land. So it's not just by saying that you want to begin to liaise with landlord to regulate. Are you the one that bought the cement for them? Are you the one that bought the building materials for them? They should look at these things and bring them down, so that our people can have a very good time, and most especially those of us who doesn't have houses that are struggling to live.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Let's hear from you, please, Chief Wale, on this decision by the Lagos State government.
Sometimes that's what they call idle decisions. You just sit one morning and stereotype one policy. What effort have they made in the housing policy? I hear you say they've been able to interface with the state developer, blah, blah. What are buying people that build the houses? In the developed claim, government build houses and give out people to subsidized rate, or even a product, even free in a manner, in a way. Because the vulnerable cannot just live under the code. You must provide for them. Lagos State government I don't think they have a lot of other things they are supposed to do. Now, how many houses have Lagos government built to give out to people at subsidized rate? Even the civil servants are living in rented houses. Civil servants who serving there, have they provided accommodation for them? And I'm going to tell somebody who's talking to build a house how it's going to turn his pot of soup. That is like my language. It's madness. Because you are privileged to be there. You see, some people, what I want to ask, what is your house? You say, I now want to do, we have built so houses. Some people, there are apartments. People who high-rise houses. Have you been watching India, China, and other places in the world? What is the housing policy like? Lagos is particularly rich, richer than some countries. What's up with my quite a particular and build a village, a community? It can always move people. And now look to those there. Okay, let's assume you don't have, because everybody in Lagos is saying it's an teaching. If you can afford the payment, you pay the subsidize and spread the years of payment for you. Those who are vulnerable, they have a kind of how they should live in. And there you just run out one policy, say you have started to some. Who are the stakeholders in the building sector? Who? Even the woman who farms is a stakeholder in the building, because it's built in our own houses. I understand what I mean. Okay. You say from what they're saying, they met with estate developers with this. What about the village woman who is also struggling who produce cocoa there in the west and try to build a house, 1 or 2 rooms? Have you consulted her? Have you considered traditional rulers in that domain? So when you do certain things, you do it for the privileged. Okay? Now you're talking about rent. What about those who build the high-rise houses where they rent as commercial offices? Are they part of the rental? Because we know, like my brother rightly said here, there are places where self-coins are almost 2 million naira. Oh, we know. Are you getting me?
Okay.
Good. How do you manage somebody in Alena venue?
So you don't think that decision is going to like cost the amount? Imagine paying, just like he said about the accumulation of those rents. Imagine paying 2 million at once. You know, reducing it monthly.
Okay,
isn't that going to ease the burden?
There are people who prefer monthly. Everybody needs to go and buy garden in the market. There are old men. I know people this, like you mentioned. I can mention some compounds here. Now, one old man without his wrapper, closed down. He has some one room littered all over the place. At the end of the month, he puts his tray before his area with his bottle of academy. Kai. Once in a while, he sips it. That is his wrapper. What do I want? David, come, come. Put your money here. That month is what he used to give to the wife to go and buy something they will eat in the market. They are retired, the children are all gone. I think that's what I mean. Okay. The man sits there. And so he prefers monthly. So rent, whatever duration, is a choice. It's a choice.
The choice of the owner of the house.
The owner and the tenant, he can negotiate. So you don't stay one side and tell me when to take my rent if I'm dying. So I am telling you now, if you go down and ask, I come from Harlow. There are people, in short, my compound, say, larger compound, I have one of my aunties. He has the houses every month. Eliza, come home. Month today is 28. Where you no go bring money, and maybe about 5,000 naira or 7,000 naira, as case may be. You bring that money, you go to that boundary market and buys what to eat that day. So if the man waits till the end of the month, he has a medical challenge. Are you going to provide for her? It's not to look at because they don't arrive. There will be problem between the tenant and landlord. That's a problem. When the tenant and landlord will be fighting, will they be there? Because one is to, like you say, you have said, are you going to implement it?
Okay.
Good. This thing costs a lot. It carries a lot of load of social justice and welfareism. He said, okay, with government policy, pay yearly. No problem. Within the period, and me by my own right, I don't want lady. Some pay 6 months, so some pay quarterly. Is a choice. It's a choice. The area I would have been interested is considering the amount people take. Because house is like a tenant thing. The house will even outlive you. Somebody who built it, like he said, somebody who built his house by 1980s or 90s. It cannot compare the pricing with somebody building today. That is the area that you'll be looking at.
All right.
Okay? Let's assume, like he said, I know sometimes it's meant to cost even 14 naira. Most buildings today, they rebuild, they restructure it, rehabilitate it, make it up to modern. But somebody that lives in such an old house, you must have conscience. If I'm building my own, like he said, cement as I talk, it's not less than 11,000 naira. Somebody might refill, not even full bag, refill bag cement. So as they are controlling the price, they should also control the building materials. I've not gone to Alabama and those of them who say building materials. How much they sell? You mentioned electricity here today. Like I told the other day, electricity is the catalyst of industrial development. So somebody who is producing nails and is buying fuel, buying diesel, and he also imports the steel and iron uses to manufacture that thing. At the end of the day, he goes to the market. How much will he sell? Then the channels that the trader buys and says to you, how much will the person buy? Then you get the labor. How much will he charge? Do you know block molding now? As I talk to you now, block molding per bag is almost 2,000 naira to mold a block.
Okay, so
are you getting me? I'm coming.
All right.
You prepare labor, block molding, 2,000. The labor who is mixing the sand for the person, you are paying 1,000. So that block per day, you are paying per bag 3,000 naira. Now, it's outside the cement, which is almost 10,000. I talk to you now. It's outside the cement. It's also outside the water. Let me join it together. Before you produce one full bag of cement, you are spending almost 11,000 naira, 7,000 naira. So it's not the issue of force. It's the issue of discussion between my tenant and my landlord. It's a choice, though.
Okay, so it's not something the government should enforce wholly on themselves, just by themselves. It's something that the landlord should also get involved.
Simple.
And then the issue of rent increment should also be addressed and not the monthly or yearly payments.
It is a choice.
Okay.
Because sometimes too, you also know that you can live in a house of about 10 rooms. What you are paying is not what I'm paying. I hope you know that. The man will be collecting 5,000 from you, collecting 7,000 for another person, collecting 3,000 for this person. It's understanding.
All right.